Tonight on Connecticut's news station, a weather watch alert.
A weather watch alert for snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. We'll talk about timing and impact coming up.
Plus, Twitter troubles for a local select woman, why one of her tweets got her tossed. And a shocked family speaking out tonight as the man accused of stabbing their loved one appears in court. Plus, renters rally for more affordable housing.
We can't do it anymore. You can raise the rent, we cannot pay it.
But not everyone's on board.
We're trying to stay in the business that we love.
And President Biden showing support for Ukraine. His message as we near the one-year mark of war.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us on the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us here. We are following that weather watch alert tonight. Some snow moving into parts of the state overnight tonight. This here was the scene in Litchfield County this morning, and some areas just saw rain.
And we are in a weather watch alert tonight for what's coming in the next few days. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now with the timing of it all. Rachel.
Yeah, the weather just got real active real quick all of a sudden. It's not, deep winter. We're not talking about a big snowstorm, but a wintry mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. This will get underway between 4 and 6 o'clock later tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. That brief wintry mix changing over to rain really quickly at the Connecticut shoreline. It will linger for a little bit longer in other inland locations, but most of the state has transitioned over to rain, with the exception of the hills heading towards the news at 10 tomorrow night. But in the hills, we are expecting a prolonged period of freezing rain and sleet, which will cause icy spots and tricky travel later tomorrow night through the overnight and possibly into the Thursday morning commute. For the rest, for Thursday morning, roads are mostly wet, with just some lingering drizzle or a light shower. Meantime, tonight we got some weather to tell you about. A couple showers that are moving through eastern Connecticut. No big deal here, right? But these are actually part of a line of showers and even thunderstorms that moved through parts of New York State, Pennsylvania. And there was even a tornado warning in New Jersey just a couple of hours ago, which is just wild. We are not expecting anything like that here, but another line of showers, gusty downpours, the chance for some snowflakes in spots, especially at the higher elevations. And then this is out of here and we can focus our attention on tomorrow. We'll take a full look hour by hour through the storm that comes through coming up.
Rachel, thank you. Meanwhile, new tonight, a 16-year-old is in custody after police say the teen stabbed someone at a home in West Hartford last night.
Fox 61's Gabby Molina live at the West Hartford Police Department with the details for us. Gabby.
Ben and Jen, police say that this is still a very active investigation and they weren't able to provide too many details about what happened, but they did assure the public that this does appear to be an isolated incident. It all started last night just before 9 o'clock when officers were called to a home on Federal Street for a report of a stabbing. Police say when officers arrived, they found one adult victim who had been stabbed in the neck. That person was taken to the hospital where they are now in stable condition. Police say the suspect is in custody and is facing several charges.
The preliminary investigation led to a 16-year-old juvenile suspect who does not reside at the resident location being taken into custody by West Hartford police officers and was held on an order to detain at juvenile detention.
And like I mentioned, that 16-year-old is now facing several charges, including criminal attempt to commit murder, assault in the first degree, and disorderly conduct. Live in West Hartford, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Gabby, thank you very much. In Norwalk, police are investigating a shooting at a home on Dry Hill Road. It happened last night just after 6 p.m. Police say they found a man with gunshot wounds inside of the home. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officials say it was an isolated incident and there is no threat to the community. Police are still investigating.
Well, customer turned suspect. A Hartford man accused of stalking a store clerk and stabbing her inside of her home faced a judge today in Manchester. The arrest warrant detailing several months of stalking that led to a vicious attack on a 23-year-old woman inside of her own home. Fox 61's Samaya Hernandez was in court today and had a chance to speak with the family. Samaya joins us live outside of the Superior Court in Manchester. Samaya.
Ben, I spoke to the victim's brother, and he tells me that the whole family is traumatized by this. Now, I also spoke to the suspect's grandmother, and she says that her grandson, who's now being held on $1 million bond, suffers from mental health issues. Sam's Food Store and King Smoke Shop, an Oakland Street family affair for the Chaudhry family. But 23-year-old Miriam, who occasionally helps out as a clerk, is in the hospital recovering from 7 stab wounds to the stomach. Waleed is her big brother.
She's still recovering little by little every day.
The man accused of donning a ski mask, entering the Chaudhry home and stabbing Miriam on Thursday. 35-year-old Damian Davis of Hartford, who confessed to the crimes after stalking the family for several months, according to Manchester police, who were called to the home after 7 o'clock that night.
This defendant was seen on video, captured on video footage, entering the woman's home.
Zigzag shoe prints, shop cameras, a home ring camera, and a knife discarded near a bus stop. Among evidence police say led them to Davis, who was arraigned Tuesday at Manchester Superior Court on assault, home invasion, and stalking charges.
He lives with his grandmother, so he does have some support in the community.
The stabbing a culmination of several months of events, according to the warrant.
Then when I looked at my tires, it was slashed.
On several occasions, the family says someone slashed tires in the driveway. The day of the attack, Davis reportedly spent 40 minutes inside the smoke shop talking about Miriam and seemed to know a lot about her.
The whole family's traumatized, you know. We still can't sleep at night. And same thing with my parents, they can't sleep.
Family says it no longer feels safe in Manchester.
We wanted to just move out as soon as possible, you know. Because if it happens in your house, you know, how would you feel walking into the same kitchen and stuff like that?
And the judge kept bail for Davis set at $1 million. He's due back here in court in 2 weeks. We're live in Manchester. Samaya Hernandez, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Samaya, thank you. New details tonight from New Fairfield. A letter has been sent home to parents of New Fairfield Public Schools after this woman, Andy Rosaford, a middle school cafeteria aide, was arrested for sexual assault after an alleged incident with a student. The superintendent saying in part, quote, "We are deeply troubled by these charges. As I've said previously, the district does not tolerate conduct that endangers the safety and well-being of students." The district is now planning a series of internet safety presentations for students. That'll be on March 13th. They'll also hold a parent workshop on the same day at 6:30 p.m.
Well, happening right now, the Connecticut Housing Committee is hosting a public hearing on legislation to cap rent increases across the state. This after the hearing was delayed by 5 hours because of internet problems. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc at that hearing, and she has the very latest for us.
We're told the hearing started 5 hours late at 3 o'clock this afternoon because there was a power failure in one of the state's data centers, which caused the internet to either slow down or shut down in some circumstances. But that still didn't stop people from coming here to the legislative office building to partake in that hearing.
There's too much on our shoulders. We can't do it anymore. You can raise the rent, we cannot pay it.
Greta Blau is one of the 300+ people signed up to speak on rent increases in Connecticut. She helped to create the Hamden Tenant Union after dealing with unlivable housing costs. She says her rent went up by 10% in the last year, and so did everything else.
Inflation is not the tenant's responsibility. Inflation is being used against the poor and the working class.
The new bill, which is what this hearing is all about, would cap annual rent increases at 4% plus the rate of inflation. But some advocates say that's still not enough because of already high housing costs in the state.
The typical increase we're seeing is about 30%, which is insane.
On the other side of this, some landlords say they don't think a cap is the answer.
We're not here to oppose things. We're here to say we know what works, and this is not going to work.
Lauren Tagliatella works for Franklin Communities, which owns several properties in Hamden. She says they're feeling the increase in costs just as much as the tenants are.
Our taxes went up 22% from last year. So all of our expenses have gone through the roof. We're not trying to gouge people. We're trying to stay in the business that we love.
For her, the answer isn't to put a cap on rent, but to build more housing across the state, closing a shortage gap that has existed for years.
So if we are able to build more housing you're going to have more competition, you're going to have lower prices. Also, we're going to see a price correction right now in the market.
Now, since the hearing started late, a lot of people joined in late or never got to join in at all. Members of the Housing Committee say if that's the case, you can email them with your testimony. We're at the Legislative Office building. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Julia, thank you. President Joe Biden delivering remarks in Poland, emphasizing support for Ukraine as the country nears the one-year mark of Russia's invasion. The president sending the message that Kyiv stands strong.
When President Putin ordered his tanks to roll into Ukraine, he thought we would roll over. He was wrong. The Ukrainian people are too brave.
The speech comes as Russia announced today that it'll be suspending its participation in the last remaining nuclear arms control pact with the United States.